Rhino wins. You fucking beauty.
I've had many careers. I studied as a graphic designer.
Okay.
I worked in advertising. I direct TV commercials, and then here
So
I
it
am.
wasn't ever, because you know a lot of people start off going, oh, I'm going to direct films, or that wasn't your...
It was always there. It was always something I loved, and I always had a passion for. But you know, I had other passions and loves, and here I am.
But I will say that Simon has been relentless with this movie. He has been with it for 6 years. I've known him for 4 of those 6. It was a very long journey.
It was, yeah. I was 12 years old.
Including
when
a
I started.
pandemic in post.
Yeah.
It was, in the post-production process, it was mostly remote work. Simon was in Perth, our editor, Dan Liebenthal, was in Los Angeles. Everybody came together when we did the additional photography. But there was a good 4 months where we were on Zoom and different platforms editing the movie, which is very hard in the creative process because, you know, it's a subjective process by which you're trying to figure out the values that are right for the film. And when you're disconnected, it's just communicating twice as hard.
Yeah, it was all of that extra walk into room, having a bit of a chat, hey, I was thinking, can we try this? That all gets formalized when you are doing it via email and doing it over Zoom, and we've got a Zoom call scheduled for then. Everything gets really formal, and no one wants it to be formal, and so a lot of information would go back and forth, and I was guilty of it, and you would think, wow, what are they worrying about that for, or what? And then you'd actually chat, and they're like, no, it's just a thought, you know. So it made it quite difficult, and just the brain processing was different in doing it all on Zoom, and
which is in contrast to when we did the production in Adelaide.
Yeah, completely.
Because there we had happy accidents, which was stumbling on things, which in a pandemic we would never have had.
Yeah, but then again, you know, there's probably things that came out of being, you know, all separated might have brought out other positive things. But
we had to formalize our thoughts more before we got together.
Yeah, you could sleep on things and what.
Yeah. So, you know, it was just different. It really burnt my brain though. It was tough.
Yeah.
So it was really lovely to get all together again when we're all back together again in September, wasn't it? October?
October.
Yeah. And that was great.
Was that for reshoots or
something? Yeah,
no?
just a couple of additional bit of shooting.
And then the finishing of the film here in Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, there were certain things we needed to be together for, and, you know, that fun. We could be because by then, you know, things had, thankfully in Australia, we were in pretty decent shape. So that was always the intent from day one. I think there was early discussions we had on finding where the tone would land, and the studio were always wanting to do justice to Mortal Kombat. They didn't want to do a safe, tepid version. So we talked about how to get to this tonal space, but it's not like there was anyone saying, no, you can't do that. We were all of the same, we were all in lockstep on what we wanted. It was just then, okay, how do we execute this? How does this feel? And so that's where
there's
the
obvious
discussion.
commercial considerations, and so it was all, you know, it's like people always talk about, oh, Hangover was the first R-rated comedy that did blah business, you know, so where does this come into this project? I
think in terms of the R rating for Mortal Kombat, that there is a marketplace for it. You just need to make a good film and be true to the origin of where it came from, and deliver something that is action-packed and fun, and Simon did that.
But, you know, I know there's a market for it, but when you're making, a 4-quadrant picture or whatever, you know, like, I don't know, didn't executives kind of question that at all, or they were 100% on
No,
board?
I think Mortal Kombat was made under the Producers Offset Program here in Australia, which gave us a lot of flexibility, and we enjoyed making the entire film here.
So technically it's an Australian film?
It is an Australian
Absolutely.
film.
I think the thing I directed several video game commercials, and in that process, what I learned from that was was the potency of how fans or players of the games and people who immerse themselves, and I was a gamer, so when you immerse yourself into a particular game, whatever it happens to be, you really connect with that world and that story and that game in a very, very powerful way. So I understood that from being a gamer. I also understood it after shooting commercials for Halo and PlayStation and Call of Duty and so forth, where that I know that power really matters. So it's more than just doing fan service to make sure. It's more like what I was trying to do was get to the heart of how they feel when they play the game. Now, obviously, everyone's got a different interpretation, but I understood that there was a really direct connection to sort of the key part in their brain. So that immersive feeling and that tone was really what I was trying to amplify and elevate for this cinematic version. So it's not as simplistic as just saying, oh, you got to do fan service. It was really more locking into that feeling of like, no, let's respect that feeling. No, it's very powerful, and because I want the audience to enjoy the ride of the film. So that's really where it comes from.
Yeah, and the R rating kind of feeds into that
exactly,
as well.
Exactly.
These are your champions.
I'm Sonia. That's Kano.
I'm Luke.
Name's Jax.
Kung Lao.
Lord Raiden. The fate of Earth is in our hands.
No matter how many of my people you put in the ground,
We will not fail.
kill them.